Assalamu alaikum. warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so for the second presentation, I'll be talking on the solutions on regards to the sustainable architecture from the Islam perspective. So, somewhat the solution to that is called the smart mosque or the smart architecture or smart mosque. Next, okay, so there'll be three factors that I'll be focusing on throughout the presentation, which is the traditional solution that were utilized in the olden days, as old as it goes back to Prophet Muhammad's time, and then the solution that are modern solutions that are invented in the 21st century or before that as well. And then lastly, I'll be talking about the Quranic verses, which are the values and the tafsir that you can derive from the verses of the Quran. And some of the Quranic verses are selected on regards to sustainability. Okay, so what is a smart architecture? So smart architecture consists of these values such as land to passive. There is no uh, need for human interference, which is why it is called the blend of passiveness and active technological and architectural strategies, and harnessing computerized network. It requires interference from the technology as well to make sure that the smart technology is advancing. And also it is globally connected and complex adaptiveness. It adapts to the natural and ecological surrounding. And there's no need for it uh, doesn't actually stands out. It adapts to the natural surrounding. And also real-time responsiveness. It responds to certain changes in the environment, such as if there is a change in the temperature, the smart architecture would react and adapt to the change of the temperature. So if it's cold outside, it would produce heat to provide warmth for the uh, people that are, inhabiting that building. And if it's cold outside, then vice versa. Next. Okay, so the first one is traditional solution. So what is a traditional solution? So before that, traditional solution has much um, characteristics, and its fundamental and its basic values are derived of a green mosque. So what is a green mosque? So a green mosque considers a local microclimate and design of building. So it uses natural resources, and it reduces what it does is it reduces impact to the surrounding. So it is a self-sustaining building. And also, most importantly, a green mosque rekindles the spirituality of its surrounding. So if you were to enter into that space, you will feel more likely to do ibadah. Next. So some of the traditional solutions in the previous green mosque or Islamic architecture involves some of these criteria, such as exposure to spaces that are connected to the ground and sky, such as courtyards, you can also represent courtyards in terms of spiritual inspirations because you're connected and you're closer to God because you're in the open space that is directly reaching towards the sky. And then another ones are pond, reservoir, or presence of water body. So what it does is when there is water, um, it reduces the heat variations of the environment. Water produces more precipitation, so hence more cool environment. And also several openings, sense of welcomeness. So you can notice that most of the masjids have very wide entrances and windows, and also it is very symmetrical and aligned towards each other, hence easy airflow and ventilation. Natural materials Prophet Mosque, which is made of clay, bricks, and palm trees and logs. What else? It is also passive design strategies. Passive design strategies such as natural heating and cooling system using of clay blocks. So these are some of the passive strategies that helps with heat insulations as well. So doesn't require much of human interference. Lastly, ventilated bricks and lenses. So ventilated bricks are still used until today, because it provides gap for airflow pretty much. So I'll talk about this airflowness later. So next one, modern solutions. Some of the modern solutions that we will be discussing are totally inclined towards the notion of smart mosque. So what is a smart mosque? Earlier we're talking about a green mosque, which is more connected towards the Islamic solutions. And now the smart mosque, which is more inclined towards the modern solutions. So the smart mosque is actionable and automated mosque that deploys digital technologies to offer enhanced experience to worshippers. So what it does is it pretty much make your life easier. So if you're caretaker of the mosque, you don't necessarily have to do much of you don't necessarily have to do and put more effort like you used to. Now pretty much the mosque takes care of itself. That is the idea of a smart mosque. It reduces energy consumption. It helps with the air circulation, save resources, water, electricity, and it's also a natural recycling active house, so to say. Next. So some of the modern solutions that are, used nowadays are temperature and environmental sensors, limit energy consumption. For example, the water from the tap. So there is a sensor in the tap so that the water doesn't go to waste. And they also have sensors for the environment, for the weather. So when it comes to a heat, when it's hot to a certain extent, the cells or the blinds will open. Sorry, if it's hot, then it will close. So to say, it's somewhat to that extent. And then another one is congested scene recognition network, which is a CSRNet. So what it does, it uses deep learning and machine learning to sense an area that is populated. So what it does is it understands highly congested scenes or populated areas and performs an accurate count estimation. So it would try to find out how many people are there in such an area, and a solution or the action will be taken according to what the result is. In this context, this CSRNet can be used in a mosque, let's say in terms of the population that is inside the mosque. For example, if it's a Friday prayer, there will be a lot of people. So what happens is when there's a lot of people, they use this CSRNet to control, let's say, the aircon flow to keep the room cold, or it will help with the ventilation, open up the domes, for example, because the Medina Mosque has the flexible domes which can open up. Somewhat this technology can be used as a modern solution. Another one is HVAC plant, which is the heat control. So what it does is it try to absorb as much as heat as it can and then release it in terms of cooling. It negates the hot air in the room. Another one is perforated bricks, which I was talking about earlier. You can go back for a bit. The ventilated bricks, but now we call them the perforated bricks. It encourages airflow. So what this bricks is about 20% of its brick, of the size of the brick, is used as a gap. So there is encouraged airflow. Next one is solar panels, but it saves electricity and then it refreshes almost every single day. Last one is the electrochromic smart glass, which these two factors I talked about in the previous presentation. Lastly, I will talk about the Quranic verses, which is concerning the green and also the smart mosque, and also towards the sustainability of the environment. So in this verse, Surah Al-Hijr, fifth verse, Surah 15, verse 22, it talks about we send fertilizing winds and bring down rain from sky for you to drink. It is not you who hold its reserves. So the tafsir from this verse is that Allah has always provided for us the resources, natural resources, and it is for us to maintain and produce the most out of it, as well as not abusing the resources that were given to us in the first place. Next verse, Surah Al-Rahman, Surah 55, verse 7, it talks about, and the heaven he raised and imposed the balance. So here I want to focus on the word balance. The ecosystem has been imbalanced, and resources were always plenty, and there were always a sense of peace, I would say. But lately, that balance in the ecosystem has been severely damaged. So it has become somewhat threatening. So these kind of sustainable or green architecture that we're proposing, a smart mosque, these are all helping to maintain the balance that was being damaged in the past. So we are trying to prevent any more abuse of the usage of the resources, and try to make it as adaptable to the environment. Everybody is thriving, the environment is thriving, the trees are thriving, the people are thriving. So that is what is necessary. Next one. Sorry. So Surah Al-An'am, Quran, Surah 6, verse 141, it talks of He is the one who has created gardens, sterilized and unsterilized, and date palms and crops with the varieties of edible and the olive and the pomegranates, similar to one another and some dissimilar. Eat of its fruit when it bears fruits, and pay its due on the day of harvest, and do not be extravagant. Surely Allah does not like the extravagant. So the tafsir of this verse is that God will continue to provide for us until the day of judgment. Allah will not be, He will not hold back. He will continue to provide for us. We are blessed with these resources and food that we're supposed to be consuming, and also providing back. Pay its due on the day of harvest, which means we have to give back what we take, and do not be extravagant. Do not be greedy. Do not take what is more than necessary, and always consider that what we want for ourselves, we should also provide for the other. Next verse. This will be the last verse, I believe, and this will be talking about Surah Al-Nisa, Surah An-Nisa, Quran number 4 and verse 28. And it is Allah's will to lighten our burdens, for humankind was created weak. What we can retrieve from this verse is that human were meant to be created weak, and we will always look for solutions. And this verse says that Allah will lighten your burdens. So it is on us, and Allah will always provide us solutions if we seek for it. So which means that we were meant to find the solution. And in terms of this topic, green architecture or the smart architecture is the solution towards the sustainable environment, hence the solution. And in terms of solution, Albert Einstein once said, if the solution is easy to find, God is with you. And this man is known to be he knows the concept of God and who created the universe, but he doesn't actually believe doesn't actually believe in God. So which means that even such a man can say that if the solution is easy, then God is with you, which means that we should be more affected by this notion that we are, sense toward finding this solution, and we should be obliged by it. And God will always help us, inshallah. So thank you very much, and that will be my presentation for the smart mosque, sustainable environment. Assalamu alaikum.